with Joe Pulizzi, who's the founder of Genta 42 and the co-author of the book Get Content, Get Customers. So welcome, Joe, and thank you so much for talking with me today.
Oh, Kim, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to say how much I really enjoyed the book, and you really make a lot of things understandable in terms of the importance of content. And I think we're at a point where people get content's important, but when they think about putting together content, they're like a deer in the headlights. So,
Yeah, you're exactly right.
so given that you're kind of the poster boy for content and you've kind of made this whole thing your life, I just want to get your insights and your thoughts, things that would be valuable to think about when people are thinking about the kind of content that's really going to pull their leads through the buying process and that sort of thing, and wrap their arms around it all.
Kim, I think you make a really good point. I think the first thing, I just did a blog post on this, and I said that 2010 would be the year of content marketing how, which is now everybody seems to get it. Everybody's on the bandwagon, and they're saying, okay, how do I get all this stuff done? Okay, Joe or whoever, Kim, I'm convinced. Yes, we need to have a content marketing strategy. Now how do I get it done? And to your point, a lot of deer in the headlights look, especially in large companies where you have people creating content all over the place. So I think that whether you're small, medium, or large businesses, I think you really have to take a step back and say, what's our story? Really, what do we want to communicate? I mean, you and I have talked before about lead gen strategies and how important they are, but you can't have a lead gen strategy that's going to work until you figure out what your story is. Like, what are you going to stand for? What's your expertise areas?
Right.
So that you can build your content strategy around that, because you get a lot, you probably heard this. People will say, I want to do a white paper program, or I want to do an ebook, or I want to do a webinar. And the question I have is, why?
Right.
Why do you want to? Oh, because I want to get leads. Okay, you want to get leads, but still we're talking on a very tactical. We're not talking about strategy at all. We need to go back to the beginning and say, all right, what do you stand for? What are you trying to communicate to your customers? What are their informational needs? Are you listening to those? Just ask some. They're pretty easy questions, but when you're a company and you've been doing things a certain way for a long time, it's pretty crazy to really figure out, oh my gosh, I have to be a publisher now. I have to listen to my customers and then actually create content specifically for their needs. It's you think it's easy, but it really isn't. That it is pretty difficult when you think about all the steps that go into it.
Exactly. So say I'm just starting out, and a lot of what you said, and it's like, who are we and what really is our unique proposition, right? It's kind of like, what's your unique selling proposition?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would people do business with you rather than anyone else they could pick in your space to do business with? And so what would you say, or, give me a sampling of maybe 3 questions that are critical to ask when you're taking that look just at that level?
I would say, the one thing I've been talking a lot about lately is, can you niche yourself to death here? Like, how small can you get? What's that little piece of content that ask yourself about your products and services, and then your customers' informational needs, kind of the intersection between that. What's that content niche that you can be the expert for? That people will know you as the trusted expert. A lot of people are tempted to go bigger, right? Oh, we've got to talk about this bigger thing because we want more. But I think really where the opportunity is at, especially for small businesses, is to say, where's that little niche that nobody has put their flag on top of and said, yes, we're the expert.
Right.
That is where the opportunity is. So I would say, anybody listening to this, step back for a second and see how much can you really niche, and go as niche as you can. Like, really get finite into who is that audience that you're talking about. What is that buyer persona, and what really is that small niche of whatever whatever related to your product or service. I would really focus on that area.
Okay.
And I think what I would also recommend is, just get some basic listening posts set up. Everybody's into, Twitter and Facebook and Google alerts and all that kind of stuff, but nobody really has. I haven't seen a lot of companies outside of the ones that have just hired monitoring services have just a structured monitoring process for listening to the conversation that's going on.
Right.
We all know. Most companies I talk to know how to use. Oh, I use Google alerts, but they check them every once in a while.
Right.
Or, oh, I use Twitter, but they don't have a process for actually listening to, using tools like TweetDeck and actually listening on a consistent basis.
Right.
If this is going to work at all, in your content strategy, make sure it's consistent. Have somebody that owns it, first of all. Somebody in your company has to own this process. It'd be like the chief listener. And second, whatever you're using, whether you're using free tools like TweetDeck or Google Alerts, or whether you have a monitoring system, use it. And make sure every day that you're looking at this stuff, because I see so many companies, somebody blogged about that and we didn't get over and comment on that. Well, why not? Because nobody was listening.
Right.
It's just very, very easy stuff. And then you're talking about lead gen campaigns and stuff like that. Well, when your lead generation is going to work like it's on steroids if you do all these other things and you comment on those blogs that you're supposed to, and you're really listening to what those niche content areas are out there.
Right. So when you look at it and say, there's a small business and, right now I've read so many email marketing reports so far this year that says, that batch and blast is over. And I'm thinking maybe we all as vendors want it to be over because we provide so much segmentation tools and capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is many, many, many of the small businesses and marketers I talk to, they still do batch and blast. They still come up with the one-off emails maybe once a quarter or once a month, and they just send the emails to every single person on their list, and they pay no attention to the segmentation. And so, maybe we're all thinking it should be time for that to be over. But what you're saying about, really niche yourself down, like figure out where you can be that expert. And then, what I'm hearing is maybe a starting place is to say,